Welcome everyone to the Side Draft Podcast. This past weekend, the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series went to Texas Motor Speedway. The final mile and a half before Homestead Miami Speedway, we get to see who was, the better cars, maybe for the Final Four. And Ryan Blaney, not in the playoffs, wins the pole, had blazing speed in qualifying, and just put up a awesome lap there. Clint Boyer manages to get second place with Harvick third, and I believe it was Eric Almirola fourth. Eric Almirola would have to start from the rear for unapproved adjustments. They found something odd with the car on right before the race.
It's really good for Ryan Blaney. He said, "I ain't done yet. I might be out of playoffs, but I'm not done yet." He come out here with some good speed.
William Byron failed tech, I believe 3 or 4 times. Lost his car chief. Had to just start from the rear as well. Jimmy Johnson failed tech to the rear, and Martin Truex Jr. just changed his engine. Didn't like the way that it sounded, or just the way it didn't run as well as some of the other playoff contenders. So they try to change it up and start from the rear.
Yeah, I believe they messed up on Jimmy Johnson. I think he wasn't really supposed to go to the rear. NASCAR might have just messed up on it.
Imagine how major that would have been if he would have been a playoff driver going for a championship and have to start from the rear of the field, and almost could have been very dangerous there. So the green flag would have Ryan Blaney versus Clint Boyer. We saw something sort of like this, I believe, the last time I went to Texas here last year. Brad Keselowski moved up into Kyle Busch. Well, this year it was Clint Boyer moving up to the 11. Hamlin would have a tire rub and fall back through the field, have to make a pit stop. Clint Boyer would also have to pit, and Hamlin's not a playoff driver, so that's not really too major. He's just going to try to win a race. But Clint Boyer's in the playoffs, and that hurt him dramatically.
Yes, he went a couple laps down and couldn't ever recover from that. It's unfortunate for them. It wasn't a very fun day for him.
Yeah, and he really expressed that in his interview at the end of the race. Didn't really want to talk, and I really wouldn't either, because that'd be like a very disappointing, embarrassing day to have as a playoff driver.
Yeah, I'd be kind of aggravated too. You come talk to me about, how was your day? What do you think?
What do you think, man? I finished almost last, so thanks for the encouragement there. We'd have the competition caution for lap 30. I believe Jeff Gluck said that Blaney won the 0.5 stage, so had a competition caution for, had some rain overnight. Just want to make sure the tires were okay. A lot of fans showed some displeasure about having competition caution, but sometimes I think they're needed.
Yeah, sometimes when the rubber gets washed off the track, they ain't really sure how the cars are going to react until they get the rubber put back down. So they just throw the caution just for kind of safety issues.
Harvick won the race off pit road. Took 2 tires. Decided that track position was key to winning this race, and we saw some of the guys that took 4 got mired back in the field there just a little bit. Penalty for Kyle Busch, too fast on pit road. Also added to that list Brad Keselowski, Ryan Newman, and Jamie McMurray. They was all too fast entering. Then the major thing here is Kyle Busch. He just had a rough day after that point. Couldn't ever really come back from that.
Yeah, he had a fast car. He got put back around and back. I believe he had a vibration or something and had to come in.
When you think about it, Kyle Busch could have left here locked in, even though if he would have finished second, he still could have been locked in if he would have finished all the stages strong. But instead, he is close to elimination, not necessarily in a red alert area, but if something happens at Phoenix, we could see one of the big 3, possibly 2 of the big 3 out.
Yeah, you come into Texas here with about 60-some points ahead, and Leeds is just 128 points ahead, so not a big concern, but still not out of the woods yet.
And stage 2, after Harvick wins stage 1, his 17th of the year, Reminds me of Truex last year, just dominated all the stages and bringing it home like 18, 19 stage wins of the year. He would win the race off pit road in stage 2, lead on the restart. Jimmy Johnson would get loose and get into William Byron and spin. And when you think about it, that was really bad for Chad Knaus. His past and future was crashing in one corner.
His past and future meeting together.
The clash from the past and future. Then Kevin Harvick would lead on the restart. Joey Logano chases him. Logano's not looking, to win a race necessarily, but I think he's looking for that momentum, thinking that he could beat one of the big three in Homestead, and to prove that, he's going to have to beat one of them in Texas. And Eric Jones would come to pit for splitting the stage in half. We saw some of that strategy there come into play, but something you can't do is have a vibration on your car and have to come to the pit, and that happened to Truex.
Yeah, he said the vibration got so bad he couldn't really drive it, so he had to come in.
A lot of drivers were complaining about vibrations, but I believe Truex just had a monster of a vibration. No pun intended, by the way. Kyle Busch, also a vibration. He would bring it down pit road. Truex would not. He would just try to fill it out and see how it goes. Logano would try to stay out, hope for a caution. Does not happen. He would have to come down pit road. Harvick would get the lead back by passing Jimmy Johnson, who hasn't even pitted yet. And Jimmy had one of those up and down days once again. Led some laps, but also just not the luck he was looking for.
Yeah, I believe Joey's trying to stay out as long as he could to maybe trap some of the big contenders a lap down or something.
Then we would have a penalty for Clint Boyer. His half of a crewman was over the wall too soon. He was just chilling there on the pit wall there, and that ruined an already bad day for Clint Boyer.
Yeah, just icing on top. I ain't sure how they ruled that. I mean, he was sitting on the wall. I mean, I know he had his feet on the pit road, but I don't understand that.
Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Clint Boyer had a great fall. And then the King's Horses, Kevin Harvick would win stage 2. And that pretty much was the day. No one really could touch him besides maybe Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney had like not as good as a car, but he was right there.
Yeah, but he had a top 2 car.
Stage 3 would begin. The nerves were rising for some of these pit crew members. Went down pit road. Some cars would take 2. Harvick, Blaney, and Truex, and a few others would take 4 tires. That would be key. You want to take 4 tires now, besides taking them later when these new tires just aren't as great on the restarts. You want them to be like longer cycled. 2 tires would be the way later in the race. And Harvick would march his way to 3rd just after a few laps after getting mired in the traffic. The 18 needed a caution there. He didn't get it. Just like Jimmy Johnson a few moments ago.
Yeah, he tried a few times to take the wave around and trying to get his lap back and just work at that, and his cautions never did follow his way.
And then we would have a debris caution, and since Kyle Busch went back down pit road, that was just bad timing for that debris caution. Then the 4, Kevin Harvick, after they came back on there, he claimed he had a loose wheel, and that put a lot of red flags in like Rodney Childers' mind and everyone's mind, really, because Joey Logano said he had one. Truex said he had one. Which Truex said his was really bad. He had to come back down. And then to put the icing on the cake, he would have a penalty driving through too many stalls, and just not something you want to do when you really need those points, really need to try to be up there and go for the win. Truex was just never there, had too many issues.
Yeah, I believe, it seemed like when you have trouble and you come down pit road, you're trying to hurry up, he ended up making mistakes and just kind of snowballed after that.
Brad Keselowski would have to pit for a loose wheel, so everyone's just, these tires just snapped on them. I believe most of these people didn't necessarily have a loose wheel. It's just the way that the tires felt with the shading over the track, and maybe the track conditions changed dramatically over that caution. But Harvick would pass Logano for the lead after panicking after the loose wheel situation seemed to be okay, so he cruised on. The 18 would be in another situation where he would need a caution to get a break. He doesn't get it, and he would have to pit again. Just not a great day for the 18. Definitely not one that you want. Trying to get some momentum for Homestead, and you go here and you just have a lot of bad luck. And the pit stops of 54 to go actually. Denny Hamlin would have a tire violation. As I was writing that we didn't have no penalties, the second I wrote that, Denny Hamlin had to have a tire violation there.
And I believe he didn't really want to come in because he got the black flag, didn't he?
Yeah, he just wanted one of those black flags, a lot of the kids go there hoping for a driver to give them the checker flag. Denny Hamlin's one of the black flag, but I believe he thought that he didn't necessarily have a tire violation and wanted to protest it. And in these situations, NASCAR wins most of the time. Jimmy Johnson finally down pit road after he stayed out. Harvick would resume the lead. It looked to be like it was just going to be cruising to the win for the 4 crew, but would have a caution for the 97. He would spin, and the pit stops would happen, but not many pit because 4 tires are not an advantage here. They're actually kind of a disadvantage.
Yeah, I believe the tires really need to have a little scuffed up a little bit. The new tires don't really stick that well.
Would have a restart. Kevin Harvick would clear Ryan Blaney, barely though. 32 to go. Then Matt DiBenedetto would crash, bring out the caution. Almost got into Martin Truex there, and that could have been bad for the 78 team.
Yes.
And Blaney would get the lead on the next restart. Powered through on the outside. Harvick would chase him down and had just a nice textbook move for the lead. Blaney showed a lot of respect there, and I believe he thought, well, this guy's going for a playoff thing, playoff point to get into Homestead, and here I am. I believe they raced clean, and can respect them both for that.
Yep.
Then again, it seemed to be cruise control right now, and then the 51 would crash and get into the 19. The 19 just hasn't had a stellar year so far. Just a lot of bad luck for that team. There's some rumors that he may be going to the 41 next year, and no one knows where he's actually going. And I think Truex is going to take his number next year, and that could be interesting.
Yes, interesting to see where they end up.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that there's going to go to the 95, and then Matt DiBenedetto ends up going to the 95. So it's really a toss-up to where Daniel Suarez could go. That would bring up the caution. Kyle Busch, after all of these years, after 25 long years, Kyle Busch back on the lead lap.
Finally.
Yeah, they just had a tough day, and it's really late in the game. They can't really do anything to really win, but every point matters, trying to get every position they can. And then on the restart, we had Ryan Blaney versus Kevin Harvick. I believe Blaney was battling to keep Harvick out so Joey Logano would have more chances of winning the championship, bringing one for the team, but just could not hold off Harvick on the outside. Harvick noticed how the outside worked and really gave a good strong run for the lead there, and he took it and set sail. And then Harvick would punch his ticket into Homestead, and in his victory lane celebration, we had an awesome moment for one small kid.
Yeah, that was about the most awesome celebration I ever seen. From still a kid out of the audience, out of the crowd, and take a selfie with him. And then that was pretty awesome just to be able to do that. What kind of incredible memory would that kid have for the rest of his life? Said, he got to take a selfie with Kevin Harvick on the start finish line after his victory. I mean, that's just awesome.
Yeah, and that's something that kid can always cherish throughout his life, and I think that's important for NASCAR drivers to start doing, because if you go to the track and you meet a driver and they treat you really well, and that makes you want to keep coming back to the track. And I think that tradition is starting to happen, and it's really nice to see.
Yeah, like Harvick said, you can't get to everybody, but sometimes you can give just a little gem to every few fans out there, and that's really what drives our sport.
Yeah, and I think if we keep seeing this happen, more drivers paying it to the fans, giving them parts of the car. We've seen like Noah Gragson do that at Talladega, giving them the checkered flag, taking selfies with them, on the racetrack in victory lane, and all this. And I think it's something that will drive fans back to going to the track, and we'll see how that goes.
And there was a little controversy between Joey Logano and Eric Almirola. I believe Eric Almirola was on the bottom and Joey was at the top. It looked like Almirola just got loose, lost the front end, and it washed up the track, and then he wanted to blame Joey for it. And Joey didn't know anything wrong. He was just running the high line. I mean, it's really... I guess we need to have like a crybaby award for some of these drivers. Like, oh, he raced me too hard. I mean, come on, I was racing y'all. It's just, nobody saw anything wrong. He's just whining. So,
well, we saw that all the way through. The Truck Series race, the Xfinity Series, and this race. I really didn't see anything wrong. Joey Logano did, and also didn't see anything wrong with Eric Almirola and his move. But those comments, trying to start something with the other playoff drivers, I don't necessarily think that's a good idea to do. And if he goes and retaliates at Homestead, that will really be disappointing.
Yes, you lose a little bit of respect for some of the drivers when they talk about, well, he raced me too hard, or he did this, and then you look at the video and he didn't do anything wrong. So it's like, come on, we just race. You didn't see Ryan Blaney complaining to Kevin Harvick for racing him the way he did. They got respect for each other, and it's just racing.
Well, you look at it, it's like in the Xfinity Series, Austin Cindric was under Christopher Bell, and Cindric got loose and went into Bell, and Bell was done for the day. In Eric Almirola's case, he was all right. He just kept going. But Christopher Bell, he didn't say anything bad about Austin. He said it was just racing. That's just this racetrack.
Yeah.
So I think Eric Almirola is, he's not necessarily used to this, this team yet. Not used to the spotlight that he's getting. I believe it's his second playoffs, and the first one he's actually had a good chance at winning the championship. Maybe he'll learn some things about this playoffs, and maybe next year he can recollect himself. And
maybe he used to run it up front, and you run up front, they don't give you anything, especially at the end of the race, and you just got to take everything you can get. And nobody's going to give you a point, or nobody's going to give you position just because they done won a race and locked in. So just go out there and race, and just leave the other stuff alone.
Yeah, it's like no one's gonna pull over just because they're already in Homestead. I don't think Harvick's gonna lay over for anyone at Phoenix, even though he's already in Homestead. And I don't think Joey Logano is going to do that either. I think they're both going to try to get a win right before Homestead because that's important. Keep the momentum going. That's the thing I think Logano and Harvick's going to do. If they can win Phoenix, they're going to go into Homestead with 1,000% confidence. Whereas, Kyle Busch and Truex currently, they're looking for that momentum currently in the playoffs right now. If they go to Phoenix and they barely make it through, that's not going to be any confidence. They're all searching for that momentum. There's a surge in the Homestead with being a favorite. But speaking of Phoenix, who do you think is going to possibly punch their ticket into the championship for?
Well, I want to go for a long shot here. I believe he's very decent at Phoenix, and I want to go with Clint Boyer.
Yeah, his only chance is to win to get in the championship four. I believe if he gets to Homestead, he'll be really strong there. As for me and my pick, though, I'm picking one of the big three yet again. Kyle Busch. I think he needs that momentum. He's going to go get it, and the 18 will be in victory lane in Phoenix. So thank you all for watching. We'll see you next week in our Phoenix review, and we'll see you next time.